Hey, good morning, everyone. Hey, first things first, thank you so much for stopping by the channel. If you enjoy the content, please go ahead and subscribe. I'm desperately trying to get to that 1,000 subscribers mark, and I would really appreciate any new subscribers that I might get. So today's video, I wanted to do a quick kind of rundown on the Super Duke 1290R as a daily driver. I've heard lots and lots of bad stuff about it on YouTube, on the internet, whatever. People really gripe about it as a daily driver, and I 100% disagree with that notion. I've had this for about 4 months now, and most of it has been just doing daily driver stuff with it, just getting out in town to ride or go to the grocery store or whatever, and I have found it to be an absolute blast as a daily driver. So what we're going to do today is get on the road a little bit. I got some chores to do today, so I'm going to take it out on the street and we'll go over some of what I think are the finer points of this beast as a in-town daily driver motorcycle. To me, the thing about the Super Duke is that it can be ridden quite tame, but at any time you can always turn it on again. So it's kind of a best of both worlds thing for me. I've heard people say that, you know, it's just too much for the street, or why even have all that bike if all you're going to do is put around town? Well, to me, I say, why not have all that bike to put around town? That's what motorcycles are for, right? So at any rate, yeah, why don't you come along with me here in a few minutes. We're going to go take a cruise through town, and I'll discuss some of the things about the bike that I find, you know, are just so much fun while owning this in a daily driver kind of scenario. All right, let's take this thing out for a spin in town, see how she acts. All right, first things first. I just cannot figure out why people say such horrible things about this bike when it comes to in-town riding or daily driver kind of riding. Again, I'm 6'4", and this bike is completely comfortable for me around town. I'm not going to use my clutch at all, except to go into, come into a stop or go into neutral on this ride. Just going to ride it nice and easy, and kind of, I don't know, maybe talk about some of the nuances of the bike. So right now I'm doing, 3,500 RPM, almost, a little less maybe. It's very, very smooth. You can feel the motor humming under your butt, but it's not herky-jerky or anything like that. One of the things that I really love about the bike is the seating position. So because it's a super naked, it's a very upright, comfortable position for me at any rate. I'm not hunched over the bars, with all the pressure on my shoulders or on my wrists, and I'm totally comfortable. So that, is definitely one plus, right, for the bike as far as a around town daily driver goes. So what are some of the kind of the things that are indicative of daily driver in town use? Well, one, traffic, right? So being able to see is a premium. I don't know if you can see my mirrors as I'm looking in them or not, but especially these bar end mirrors that I put on here, I have, in my opinion, I have fantastic vision. Fantastic vision. Another thing might be stop and go, right? So the drivetrain would really be indicative of
whether or not a bike is good for daily driver city use. This drivetrain to me is about as good as they get. I've heard people say the clutch is super spongy. I don't find it spongy one bit. Not that I need to use it much, just from going from a stop. I'm clicking up through the gears right now, and at 3,500 RPMs, the bike is very, very comfortable. You could probably stay in 4th gear all day long, but I find that if I could jump into 5th like I am right now at 50 miles an hour or so at around 3,000 revs, it's not herky-jerky, it's not vibrating badly, it's comfortable as it can be. The brakes, of course, everybody knows the Brembos on the Super Duke are unmatched. So having a good set of stoppers definitely helps in city driving. The front light on this bike, although it looks kind of futuristic and it might not even look like it's all that bright, it is. Drivers see me when I'm driving around, and that's a good thing, of course. So, and as you might notice, here I am just kind of giving a demonstration of in-town city driving. I am in performance mode right now, and in performance mode it is still, I've got track for throttle, anti-wheelie mode is off, of course. In performance mode, the bike is still super tame, and it's not uncomfortable at all, right? Which is what I really love about this bike. Super tame, just sitting here in performance mode, not giving it much. If I want to give it a little bit, you know, no problem. It's always there when you need it. But it doesn't have to be used. It's still very comfortable in normal driving mode. Now I also have, as you can see here, I'll go to suspension, I am in the automatic damping mode. I have found that is really all I need. I was riding around in comfort for a little while just to see, but I haven't found that it's any more or less comfortable than just leaving it in automatic mode. I also have the preload set to auto high. So in auto high, the rear shock basically excuse me, raises up the back of the bike just a little bit, gives it a more of an aggressive stance. It's in a more of a raked stance, whereas standard it'll be a more of a flat stance, and low will bring the rear end lower to the ground for those with shorter inseam who want better reach for the ground. And of course, obviously in the autos, it will adjust to passengers, differences in your weight if you've got luggage or if you're running a backpack that day or whatever. And you can see the downshifting is super smooth. I just went into neutral without hitting the clutch, which with an auto shifter, I mean, that's, I don't know, can you beat that? I don't think so. That is pretty damn outrageous. About the only thing you can't do is just pop it in gear and take off. I mean, you probably could, be some trial and error to it, but it's so smooth, right? I mean, there's absolutely no shuddering once the clutch is fully engaged. While I'm shifting, using the quick shifter at low speeds, there's no clunking, there's no jamming into gear. Obviously, full throttle, yeah, it works like a charm. But even at mild acceleration or light around town driving, it's still super smooth. Again, I can't say enough about KTM and what they've managed to do with this bike. Even for a super tall rider like myself, there's neutral again with the auto shifter, or quick shift. Even for a really tall guy like myself, this bike is just so comfortable to hang around on all day long. I've done a few long rides, long days in the saddle on it, where I basically was stopping for gas. Same thing though, super comfortable. Now, to address those out there that say that it's just too much of a bike for average driving, why would you even own something like this? It's a rocket ship, right? I just think that's ridiculous because, I mean, I would say your average Ferrari owner probably isn't redlining his Enzo-built machine every time he gets out on the road, right? Especially because those people that own those kind of vehicles tend to be more urban, big cities, stuff like that. You can't all out ride that machine to its limits every day, every time you get on the road. But you have that capability should you want it. So while I'm riding around town, if I want to get aggressive, I certainly can. Cornering on this bike is some of the best I've ever experienced, and I've owned some pretty pretty good handling bikes in my time. The one thing I will say, if you're not on a freeway, sixth gear, probably not something you're going to find too often. So I'm doing 65-ish right now. I'm going to blip it up into sixth gear, and I'm running just over 3 grand. It is, you can feel it for sure. It's a lot better than when I first got it. I will say that the gearbox, as I put the miles on it, the gearbox just gets smoother and smoother. This bike is rapidly becoming the favorite bike that I've ever owned, and I've owned a lot of motorcycles. I'm really struggling to find anything bad to say about this bike, and I mean that sincerely. And being so tall, I have definitely struggled with finding bikes that I can spend a large amount of time in without becoming super uncomfortable. And this is one of them, or this may be the one. My BMW GS 1250, obviously that is just great for long distance rides, but it's designed for that. This is designed for zipping around. You know, it's a hooligan bike, right? So it is very windy out today. I'm hoping that you'll be able to hear this audio on the GoPro. But yeah, I challenge anyone who says that this bike is not a contender for an everyday driver. I don't know what they're thinking. This bike gives me the ability to just cruise and relax and chill and be comfortable, or go balls to the walls and really get on it. I don't see how you can find something better than that. All of this monstrous amount of power, I'm really comfortable with it. I don't ever feel like the bike is trying to come out from underneath me or run away from me or anything like that. I just think it's amazing. And so all of this, one second here. I'm going to go to my trip data and show you my fuel consumption. So right now, I don't know if you can see it, but right now I'm getting 47 miles to the gallon. 47 miles to the gallon in a 180 horsepower Super Naked that allows me to cruise around in town or get from one end of town to the other as quickly as I can. I don't know. That's pretty hard to beat if you ask me. And honestly, the V-twin, it's just the way to go. I've owned several Japanese sport bikes, and I love them for what they're worth, or for what they are. But who doesn't have a Japanese sport bike, right? And I mean, they're not that much cheaper than this guy was. I think for the added flair, uniqueness, and down low grunt, you can't go wrong. I had a ZX10. It was one of my very favorite bikes as well. Right off the line, if I was to just gun it, it moved okay, right? But it didn't really excite me. And then around 10,000 RPM, it would try to throw me off. But it takes a while to get to 10,000 RPMs, you know? This bike is instantaneous power. Instantaneous. I wasn't even hardly getting on the throttle. I realized when I let off that the tire was off the ground. I mean, that's insane. And I'm also in Denver, so probably losing close to 20% of the horsepower that, you know, the folks down at sea level are getting out of this thing. I haven't been down to sea level with it yet. I am really looking forward to it, though. I can't wait to get down there and see just how crazy fast it is. I will say, the other day I was coming home from somewhere and got behind a GTR at a stoplight, and he wanted to play. So I mean, I'm not making false claims here. It was a GTR, but he got on the gas and I followed, and we were neck and neck. I wasn't gaining, but he wasn't pulling away. I eventually had to let out because I was in a t-shirt and he's in a car. So it was a thrill keeping up with the GTR. It was a built one too. It wasn't a stock off the showroom floor GTR. So anyways, I'm almost to the KTM dealership to stop in and shoot the breeze a little bit with them. So I'm gonna cut this video short. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there was some information in there for those who are considering this bike but have been kind of shied away because of all the talk about how it's just not a good daily driver. I 100% disagree. I would highly encourage you, if you are interested in this bike, do not let that stop you from getting it. It is just, again, obviously you can tell I'm a huge fan of the bike. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a like and hit that subscribe button for me. And until next time, I hope to see you out on the road. And this is Jason with Upshifting Adventures. I'm out.